Hello world, this is Badassatron bringing you LEGO Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Devastator. I'll talk more about the robot mode later, so right now, let's get Devastator into all his vehicle modes. So here are all the components of Devastator in their vehicle mode. We've got Hightower, Skipjack, Scavenger, Scrapper, Overload, Buckethead, Mixmaster, and Long Haul. So let's go look at them each individually and transform them. Alright, first off, let's take a look at Skipjack. Now Skipjack here is a very simple little guy. Here we have Skipjack and his little bulldozer. It's a little bulldozer. We've got the cab in a different color. We've got some pretty large treads that, because of the way I've connected them, don't necessarily stay up straight. So because of gravity, they kind of just sink in and it looks like that, but I don't mind too much. He's got the plow with some little armaments attaching it to the main part of the truck. Obviously they're not actually attached, but it looks cool. The plow can move up. It is attached on a ball joint. And for those who care, here's the bottom. For a size comparison, here he is with a minifigure. And yeah, this guy is very, very small. That's all I have to say about vehicle mode. So now it's time to transform. It's very, very simple considering this guy's size. First, we're going to take the plow. Actually, we're going to take these armaments here. We're going to move them up, get them out of the way, and then the plow will rotate 180 degrees. And these armaments will fall back up here. Next to tread, we can orient the treads. And here's Skipjack in his robot mode. Now he's a very small guy, and small guy equals very, very simple robot mode. This is very simple robot mode. At least he can balance. He doesn't necessarily have the one super skinny like tail thing, but personally I don't mind, considering the fact that he's a small guy. The treads do end up as his arms, but unfortunately because of the technique I used, he can't exactly use them as whips. Very unfortunate. Turning him to the side, you can see the cab just becomes kibble. Yeah, Skipjack here is a very, very simple guy. But that's all I have to say about Skipjack. Next up, we have Long Haul. Now, Long Haul here is a tiny little dump truck. He's a very boxy dump truck, and before you ask, no, the dump truck does not dump. I know some people are going to get really angry about that, but what can you do? He's got a little gap there, and he does have some exhausts back here. I don't have anything else to say about it, so let's get into the transformation. Oh wait, before I do, bottom. I know someone cares. And here he is next to a minifigure. And now we can get into the transformation, which is very simple because, like everyone else, he's a small guy. So, step one, we're gonna take this section here. We're going to bring it down, take these exhausts, and move them back. Next, we are going to split the dumper part. I don't know actually know what it's called, in half. Now we're going to take this tile, and this is actually attached to a jumper plate. If I can move it, please. There we go. Okay, I'm standing because of these things. And here you have Long Haul in robot mode. Again, he's kind of accurate. There's not much I can do because small guy. But I do think he looks quite good for the size. The exhausts obviously are there as heel support because without them he could not stand. Other than that, he's fairly accurate. The bottom of the truck becomes his legs. He's got the little shoulder things around his head, and the back of the truck becomes his arms, with the cab kind of sitting back here on his back. But that's all I have to say about long haul, so let's look at the next one. All right, next up we're gonna look at overload. And he's very, very skinny. Obviously these wheels back here are a lot bigger than the ones back here. That was just because I ran out of these tires. So I might change it, but until then, we're gonna leave him with these giant tires, and honestly, they're starting to grow onto me. So I don't think it's that bad. Here's the bottom. And here he is next to the minifigure. Again, like everyone else, small guy. To transform overload, we're going to take this front part and we are going to fold it down. Then we are going to take this top section and it's going to split like that. We're going to take this section right here, it'll fold down. Do the same thing over here. Fold the head down. Here's overload, and here's robot mode. Now, I really, really wanted to try and give overload 4 arms, but I couldn't find a way that looked good enough without compromising the combined mode. So I had to settle for this big shouldered chainsaw wielding robot mode. But honestly, I like it. It's not bad. Next up, we're going to look at my personal favorite of all the Constructicons. This is Hightower. I just really like the way I built Hightower. His treads probably should go all the way, like, so they should probably be more centered, but based on the way he's built, they just sit up here. He does have quite a lot of kibble on the back, but you can hide it from some angles, and you'll notice he does sit a little upward. That's because if you look down, there's this piece right here, which doesn't allow him to sit perfectly flat. He does sit up at a bit of an angle. You can move it though, so you can face more down if that's something you prefer. But I don't like it, personally. Anyways, minifigure. He's small as ever. To transform Hightower, we're gonna take these side treads and accordion them out. Next, we're gonna take this back section and it's gonna come up like that. This section down here is gonna come down. Rotate it around, come up again. Actually, no, it'll angle kind of downwards, and the treads will kind of rotate 180 degrees. Well, a little less than 180 degrees. Actually, you know what? Maybe 90 degrees. Now we can take these golden panel tiles here, rotate those 90 degrees, take the crane, bring it down, get everything situated. And here's my boy Hightower falling over, but he's in his robot mode. And I personally quite like his little T-Rex looking robot mode. I don't know, a lot of it's a weird alt mode, and I don't know, I just really like his goofy T-Rex alt mode. Anyways, here he is next to a minifigure. Up next we have Scrapper, who is a Scrapper. Honestly, out of all of them, he's my least favorite. And you'll see why in the robot mode. It was also really annoying to make him transform into a long enough arm to match Hightower and Scrap Metal. So yeah, here's this guy with the minifigure. Right, to transform Scrapper, first what we're going to do is we're going to take this middle part of the shovel, and this will come down. And the other two will rotate forward. This back section right here will spin forward, and these parts will rotate so the wheels are on the outside of the arms. And we can take this top part, rotate it around, give him a head, move the camera back, or no, actually no. And here we have Scrap Metal, or Scrapper, in his robot mode. Scrapper's robot mode, oh my god, I don't like it. It's mainly just the head. For combining purposes, the head has to look this way, but this is not a head. Anyways, here he is with the minifigure. Let's get him out of here so we can talk about someone cooler. Next up on our list is Buckethead, because quite personally, I think it was easier to make a hand transform into a bulldozer than it is to make a hand turn into, I don't know exactly what kind of vehicle Scrap Metal turns into, but whatever it is, it was easier to make a bulldozer. So here's Buckethead. He's a small little guy with the big treads that I just realized weren't fully sitting flush with the ground. Here's the bottom, and here's a minifigure. Here's a minifigure. Now, Buckethead's transformation is my least favorite because of how precise you have to make it. First off, we're going to take the treads, rotate them 180 degrees, just kind of get them out of the way for now. Now we're going to take this middle section, and this will come down, giving us enough room for these upper parts to rotate, not an entire 90 degrees, but just that much. That should allow this middle part to rotate it 180 degrees, and that'll fold down. Now I have enough room to turn these guys a full 180 degrees. His leg will rip off as I'm trying to rotate the scoop part 180 degrees. These will fold down. The treads can come back around. And get him standing. And here's Buckethead in his robot mode. Now, despite the incredibly complicated process of making his bucket into feet, I still quite like the robot mode. Out of all the ones Constructicons you're going to see today, this is the most human-like robot mode you're going to see. I don't think he has digitigrade legs, or a tail, but just quirks of the end transformation. He's gonna fall again, please. I want to compare you to a minifigure. I said cooler, I meant cooler, because we're bringing in the big boy, Scavenger. This guy is a block on brick-built treads. Yeah, those are treads. Yeah, just bear with me. Here he is next to a minifigure. He's got a lot of exposed area on the top, in the back, on the bottom. But honestly, for just being a big chunk of block on wheels, I like it. So let's get into his transformation. See if Scavenger can successfully transform without any pieces like blowing up. We're gonna take the back section here. This is just gonna rotate out 45 degrees and do the same thing on the opposite side. Now we're gonna take this front section here and it's gonna split open. These wheels kind of get in the way of the treads, so we do need to move them up. This entire assembly right here will just kind of move back, kind of like that. And the wheels, I need to move this clearance. The wheels will move opposite sides. The arms can rotate forward. You can move that around and this will rotate 90 degrees inward. Let me see if we can get that tab straight. You can do the same thing to the other side. We can move this back section a little more out of the way. The arm can fall off, because of course it will. We can center the wheels so that they are in line with the head. Shimmy along the bar. And there is Scavenger in his robot mode. Now Scavenger here is a big guy who unfortunately does not have very decent arms. Not to mention, because of his singular mono leg, he cannot stand. Although, so we have this little thing in the back to kind of serve as support, but it doesn't go all the way down, so he's gonna just be gonna constantly be staring up into the clouds, pondering his miserable existence. And here he is next to a minifigure, standing him up. And now for the last of the Constructicons, we have Mixmaster, who I tried really hard to make look somewhat like a cement truck. The cab is pretty tall, but that's just for combined mode security. And yeah, it doesn't exactly scream cement truck. So here he is with the minifigure. And let's get him transformed. All right, to transform Mixmaster, we're going to take the cab and we're going to accordion that out. Next, we'll take this, the sides of the cap, and they will rotate out, or not cap, I should say mixing bin. This entire assembly here is going to collapse down. And the wheels can fold backwards a bit. Just kind of fold into his back. These pieces can rotate up, rotate forward, and these can be his big forearms, and get ripped off his arm or shoulder socket. And there we have Mixmaster in robot mode. Now it's fair. Now, this is not exactly the most accurate robot mode ever, but it still retains some of Mixmaster. His legs are way too long, but he still retains those giant shoulders with the super round forearms. At this, turning him to the back, he does have a bit of a backpack, but it's really not that bad. I like how the wheels fold up on his back, inside. That's very, very nice. Yeah, he's a simple little guy. Here he is with the minifigure. And yeah, that's all I have to say about him. I think these guys look great. I think they all look equally weird and funky in their own way, and it just makes them fit together, in my opinion. But with that all out of the way, let's get into what y'all were waiting for, the combined mode. All right, the moment you all have been waiting for. It's time to transform these guys into Devastator. So, let's get all of them out of the way and we'll transform them one by one. Starting with Skipjack. We're gonna rotate the treads up like that. Then the top part is going to rotate 180 degrees. And we're gonna leave him like that. With long haul, we're gonna turn him upside down, flip that up, take the exhausts, fold them back, and that's basically it. Scavenger, we're going to take these pieces back here, again, fold them 45 degrees out, split this open. We're gonna leave the crane like that for now. We'll change that later. I'm gonna take this middle section here. This is going to straighten, and I can't really get it on camera. I'm gonna straighten that out. There we go. Oh, no, never mind, it broke. I'm straighten that out. Rotate them out and kind of turn them 180 degrees. That'll kind of sit on the tires. And we can leave a Scavenger like this for now. All right, with Scrapper, we're gonna take these sections, we're gonna rotate them 180 degrees. This section, these wheels will come out like that. He's breaking on me. Will come out like that. Rotate 180 degrees. Along with this part up here. And this will all collapse back. This piece can kind of sit there. These pieces can come back up and fold down. And this can just kind of move up. And there's Scrapper. High tower is super easy. We're just gonna take this section back here, flip that up, move the crane around like that. And yeah, that's basically it. To transform overload, we're gonna take these sections, rotate them out, fold the head down, rotate these pieces down, and here you have him in combine mode. Okay, time to combine. We're gonna take Long Haul, who I've flipped his exhausts up. I forgot about that. And we've got Skipjack, whose studs plow thing is falling off. We're gonna take Overload, and this clip right, his hands will clip onto these sections in the two. We've got his kind of back. To transform Buckethead, we're going to very similarly turn the scoop into his robot mode legs, but instead of rotating these two bits, we're going to rotate this one right here. These can go forward. Next, this section is going to kind of, there's a hinge right here. This will kind of collapse backwards and we can bring the treads down. Then the cab will rotate, fold forward, and there's Buckethead in his robot mode. Or not robot, his combine mode. Now for stability's sake, we're going to transform the upper body and then combine that front half with the back half, starting with Scavenger, who we're going to take the crane parts and rotate them 180 degrees. And now we'll get Scrapper, and his head is going to plug in to this slot right here. And if I can fiddle that in, then the crane can come over, collapse on that to make it more secure, and I can blow up Scrapper, because of course I do. But anyways, we can do the same thing with Hightower on this side. This piece right here can go into that piece right there. The crane will keep it secure. We can rotate that around. And Hightower's hands are actually going to plug in to this bar section that the Buckethead's cab is resting on. Like that. And we'll leave Mixmaster off for now, because it's just easier to put him on when he's as the last one, when they're all combined. To get Mixmaster in his combined mode, we're going to again accordion the cab out, and we're going to move the sides of the mixing barrel out of the way, so that this entire middle section inside here can rotate 180 degrees. I'm trying to get all these studs lined up. Then we can rotate these around, flip the cab, and kind of recreate the cab shape on the other side. Kind of like, oh, it's rotating into the side of it, but kind of like that. And finally we can take the rear tires, rotate them 90 degrees upwards and 45 degrees in. Get the mixing barrel there. And here is Mixmaster in combine mode. Now finally, to completely finish Devastator, we're going to take Mixmaster, this plug here is gonna, I forgot to mention we fold Overload's wheels down, but this peg right here is gonna connect to the back of the cab, and this bottom section here is gonna connect to the jumper plates. And we can connect the cab to Overload. Fold this back cab down and attach the two halves of Devastator's head, please. Take some fiddling, but I swear it works. Just take some fiddling. But once you get that secured, you can get Devastator all situated. And here we have Devastator in his combined mode. I love Devastator a lot. Devastator is easily my favorite Transformer of all time. It was just seeing him in Revenge of the Fallen, this huge, imposing beast, while only being shown for maybe 2 minutes or so. He still left a huge impression on me. And yeah, he turned out very, very well in my opinion. The combined mode is obviously the highlight of my Devastator. Sure, the individual robots and vehicles are okay, but Devastator himself was the main focus of the model. He's got everything all the people in the right place, and I'd say he's fairly accurate. One thing I'm really glad about is that Devastator is really sturdy. Like, I can shake him. His shoulders will kind of sag down, but he's very, very sturdy. It took me forever to make this guy because every time I tried to make him, either the individual components looked really ugly or Devastator itself was just too fragile to make transforming him any fun. And for a size comparison, to show you how massive this guy is, here he is next to a minifigure, and he just towers over it. Is this entirely accurate? No, he'd be way, way bigger, but I just love this big goofball so much. Now, Devastator isn't that limited in articulation, but he's so big that the joints usually aren't going to stay. He's got shoulders, as mentioned earlier. His head is very secure, but that does mean he can't look up or down. His grinder throat thing can move down if you so prefer. His shoulders can move. With Hightower, his shoulder can move up and down. He's got a bit of a wrist. It can only move up and down and break off like that. And his fingers do have some articulation, being able to move forward and back, rotate, and angle themselves. Scrapper is very similar, only without that additional wrist joint. Coming to the bottom, or not bottom, I should say, the back. The legs overload allows them to move up, out. There's another hinge right here at the knee that can only move out. With Skipjack, the foot can move forward and back, but you cannot really, but that forward-backward movement is a little limited with long haul because it's moving forward and back from a different spot. It's more at the foot than it is at the actual knee, so that won't help you that much. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Devastator. So I will see you all in the next one.